Good evening, everyone. This is the Town of Lake Park, Florida regular commission meeting for Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. The time is now 6:33 p.m. Can we please have the clerk take the roll call?
Commissioner Thomas,
Present.
Commissioner O'Rourke,
Here.
Commissioner Linden is absent, Vice Mayor Hensley,
Present.
and Mayor Michaud.
Here. Can we all please rise for the pledge? All right, please be seated. Next, we have the approval of the agenda. I'm sure all of you have looked over the agenda. If there's any modifications that is needed, please state it now so we can make sure we're ahead of ourselves as we go through the agenda. Otherwise, if we're good, yes. Commissioner
Thomas.
I believe O'Rourke had his hands up first.
On the consent agenda, I would ask to have item 3 and item 7 pulled from consent.
I think that took care of you as well. Okay, so we have item 3 and 7 that will be pulled from agenda. Commissioner Thomas,
Yeah, I was going
sounds
to,
like you were going to echo a
Yes.
sentiment.
I was going to request that item number 7 be pulled for discussion.
Okay. Okay, so let it be known for the record that items 7 and 3 are pulled from the consent. We will vote the remainder of consent when we get down to that part. Otherwise, I will ask if there's anything on the agenda that may need modifications. If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second,
Second.
any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Approval of the agenda passes. Next, we have a special presentation and report. We have a proclamation for National Public Works Week. This will be going from May 18th to May 24th, 2025. If we can have our Public Works Director come up. Okay. All right, we won't bring that part up. How's that? This is a proclamation in honor of National Public Works Week. Whereas public works services, including sanitation, facility management, street maintenance, fleet management, stormwater management, and ground maintenance form the foundation of our community's infrastructure, ensuring resilience, sustainability, and the well-being of all who call the town of Lake Park home. And whereas the maintenance and enhancement of critical infrastructure spanning sanitation, public facilities, roadways, stormwater systems, and public spaces are made possible through the dedication and expertise of public work professionals, whose efforts in both the public and private sectors contribute to the protection, improvement, and restoration of our community. And whereas the health, safety, and quality of life of our residents relies significantly on the specialized services provided by the Town of Lake Park's Public Works Department. The department's employees demonstrate unwavering commitment and efficiency across multiple disciplines, including sanitation, facility and streets management, fleet management, stormwater management, and ground maintenance, deserving our deepest appreciation and recognition. And whereas fostering public awareness and appreciation of the essential role of public works amongst residents, civic leaders, and future generations is vital to strengthening our community's infrastructure and ensuring its continued advancement. And whereas in times of natural disasters and emergencies, public work professionals serve as a first responder, arriving early to mitigate risk and remaining until the community is fully restored, embodying dedication, resilience, and service. And whereas this year, 2025, marks the 65th anniversary of National Public Works Week, a nationally recognized event endorsed by the American Public Works Association, this milestone presents an opportunity for the town of Lake Park to honor and celebrate the invaluable contribution of its Public Works Department. Now, therefore, I, Roger Michaud, Mayor of the town of Lake Park, do hereby proclaim this week of May 18th through May 24th, 2025, as National Public Works Week. Congratulations.
I received this proclamation, but it's in honor and in representation of the team, which they deserve all the credit that we have to give them. Without them, we really wouldn't exist, and I have some words for them, but I would like for them to come up and receive the proclamation because they deserve it, not me. So. And they all couldn't be here because they're allowed, but I want you guys to take a pictures, and while you take a pictures, I'm going to say some words.
Let them take their pictures first. You can do it after they do.
So good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Town Attorney, Town Clerk, and members of the public. What is Public Works? In the town of Lake Park, Public Works is the heart and the quiet beat beneath the community. You may not always see us, but feel our work every single day. When your streets are clean, your parks are safe, and your neighbors are not flooding during storm, that's Public Works. That's someone who shows up before dawn. It makes it happen. But public work isn't just about roads and pipe, it's about people. It's about caring enough to preserve what we build, protect what we love, and enhance the place we all call home. We do this with pride, we do this with purpose, and we do this because we believe in Lake Park. Today, as we recognize Public Works Week, we honor the dedication, resiliency, and quiet excellence of the men and women who serve this town with unwavering commitment. This year's theme of APWS is people, purpose, and passion. The words that perfectly reflect who we are and what we do. People, because Public Works begins and ends with people. Our teams serve people. We work alongside people and improve the life of people. Every sidewalk poured, every tree trimmed, every street swept is a promise kept. The care for the community we're part of. We are neighbors serving neighbors. The purpose, because nothing we do is routine. Whether we are restoring roads, inspecting storm drainage, or keeping our parks beautiful, every task carried out weighs a responsibility. Our work is driven by shared commitment to safety, sustainability, and the long-term well-being of our town. The passion, because Public Works is not just a job, it's a calling. It takes grit, pride, and heart to show up early, stay late, and stand strong in the weather. The team brings energy and excellence to the invisibility backbone of our daily lives. Their passion is seen in their results and felt every turn and corner of Lake Park. Each division, administration, street and roads, facility maintenance, ground maintenance, vehicle maintenance, storm water management, and sanitation play a vital role in shaping the quality of life of our residents. This team doesn't seek recognition or doesn't want to be applauded. They work in the heat, in the rain, and often during holidays, cleaning, repairing, building, and maintaining the very foundation of our town. Their effort aren't always visible, but their impact is undeniable. To our resident, everything we do is for you. To my team, you are the soul of this department, and I am proud, deeply proud, to stand beside you. Your work is just fundamental, is a foundation. It represents integrity, service, love to this community. You are seen, you are valued, and today we celebrate you. Thank you.
Watching Commissioner O'Rourke shake those guys' hands like watching a quarterback talk to his line and thanking them for a good day. So, all righty. Next, we have public comment. I have 4 public comment cards. Of course, as you know, it's 3 minutes, so please be mindful of that for the next person. And we will begin with Mr. Michael Steinhauer.
In the event I go over 10 seconds, you have a copy of my written testimony.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Stay
providing
with
that.
me. Good evening. I want to begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to the town manager, our honorable mayor, and the commission for seeking third-party consultation on the growth and development issue, and for their holding the April 26th community workshop. It meant a great deal to residents to have a forum where our voices could be heard. We value transparency and participation, and that event showed a clear willingness by the town leadership to listen. At that standing room only workshop, one message came through loud and clear. Lake Park residents overwhelmingly support a small-scale, walkable, historically respectful downtown, one that reflects our comprehensive plan and that calls for small-scale development. And yet, in the past several years, under the former town manager, amendments were made to allow buildings 12 stories and higher, a glaring contradiction of the vision laid out in the plan. Town Attorney Thomas Baird has raised his concerns repeatedly. For instance, in his April 2023 memo, he warned that the bucket of units approach, averaging 48 units per acre, is not only bad planning, but also not supported by Florida Statute 163.377, sub 6, sub A. He noted internal inconsistencies between Policy 12.2 and both Policy 12.1 and Objective 12. He further objected to the height waivers, allowing up to 4 stories of structured parking, calling it bad planning that should be revisited. Unfortunately, these concerns have not yet been addressed. So tonight, I respectfully request that this commission first void the waiver request on the table now for this high-rise proposal. Then move forward with amending the recent zoning changes to bring them back into alignment with the comprehensive plan and state law. This isn't about stopping progress. It's about shaping the right kind of progress. Development should respect our heritage, our scale, and our sense of place. We believe that with the new town manager, the current mayor, and most commissioners, Lake Park has a renewed sense of partnership for a better future, one where the voices of the residents are truly heard and respected on this and other issues. The resident-focused movement that has come alive will not disappear until the final votes are cast, and we can rejoice in savoring the small-town culture and feel that motivated us to invest here in our properties and to call Lake Park our home. Again, I thank you for your service and for continuing to listen to your community. Have a good night.
Tim Sullivan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Sullivan. I reside on the 500 block of Forest Area Drive. I would like to start by commending Allison and her work in the CRA, which has already helped bring new businesses to the downtown area, and also the landscaping improvements that have grown in over the last year look very nice. Regarding the future development of the pad, I want to begin by emphasizing the urgent need to address train safety at the Park Avenue Brightline crossing when considering any proposed developments within the pad. I personally experienced a near miss at the Burns Road crossing, which is a stark reminder of the dangers of high-speed train poses. A recent incident in Delray Beach, a Brightline train collided with a fire truck, resulting in 15 injuries. The Brightline has been labeled the nation's deadliest rail service, with safety enhancement costs falling on local municipalities, an unfair trend the Florida East Coast Railway takes full advantage of. With the proposed development, we can expect increased traffic, including construction vehicles, which only heighten the risk of the already hazardous crossing. Can we implement restrictions to prevent construction traffic from using the Park Avenue crossing during peak hours? This measure could significantly reduce potential accidents. Regarding the proposed development at 10th and Park, our community is a pedestrian-friendly, not walking community, not necessarily by choice, but by necessity. Many residents rely on walking and biking as their primary means of transportation. To enhance safety and aesthetics, I propose the developers fund substantial landscape buffers along Park Avenue and 10th Street. These buffers would provide shade, improve walkability, and serve as protective barriers between pedestrians and traffic. I urge developers, not just Forest, but any developer who is proposing redevelopment in the pad, to commit to a financial bond ensuring the completion of proposed development, safety enhancements, and infrastructure upgrades regardless of economic fluctuations. This bond should cover implementation of a comprehensive safety plan for the Park Avenue crossing during and after construction, the construction of significantly wide sidewalks and landscape buffers, and installation of large shade trees. Creation of a fund to beautify the borders of our railroad property and elsewhere within our town, and upgrades to infrastructure to support the increased density. With these commitments, I can support the full 16-story proposal at 10th and Park and be open to hearing other development plans that would require special waiver. My last note, I'll skip ahead. I have concerns about the planned rescinding of the gravel driveway ordinance changes that were recently passed. 9 properties have already complied with the new requirement, investing time and resources. Reversing this decision may raise questions about the fairness and consistency of our policies. Does this change expose the town to potential legal repercussions from those who did not receive grant money? I will submit my final comments in writing. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan LaFontaine.
Dear Mayor and Commissioners, I'm here to respectfully request that you initiate amendments to Lake Park's Code of Ordinance, Section 7870 for the pad to address 3 elements which are incompatible with the town's comprehensive plan, those being building height maximum of 12 stories, the extra 4 stories allowed for a parking garage, and the absence of any specific criteria for granting density waivers in the pad. These 3 elements are clearly inconsistent with our comprehensive plan town goal, which on page 67 of the plan says it is to, quote, ensure that the historic small town character of Lake Park is maintained while fostering development and redevelopment that is compatible with and improves existing neighborhoods. A high-rise in our downtown does the exact opposite of maintaining our small town character. It is not compatible with our existing neighborhoods. Nor would high-rises in the pad, quote, preserve the current character of the town required in Comprehensive Plan Policy 1.7 on page 69. Nor would they present, quote, a unified architectural and design standards as required in Comprehensive Plan Objective 7 on page 73. Nor would high-rise in the pad be compatible with the existing housing stock as required by Comprehensive Plan 5.5.1. Also, as has been said many times, the maximum total height allowance of 16 stories, 200 feet, is directly contradicted by Section 7870's purpose and intent for a small-scale traditional downtown. Regarding density, as stated previously, granting the required density waivers to 1 or 2 developers for an extraordinary number of units diminishes the redevelopment options and property rights of other properties in the PAD, and it would clearly not help maintain our small-town character nor be compatible with existing neighborhoods. Also, why does our comprehensive plan specifically say in Policy 7.3 that it will give density bonuses in multifamily residential areas for low and or moderate income housing, but makes no such stipulation for granting density waivers in the PAD? I suggest an amendment to clearly state the criteria for granting a density waiver in the PAD, which would be in keeping with Florida Statute 163.3177 for comprehensive plans, which includes, quote, to provide guidelines for the implementation of mixed-use development, including the types of uses allowed, the percentage distribution among the mix of use or other standards, and the density and intensity of each use. Also, at one of the past meetings or workshops, someone said that if the town doesn't grant these requested waivers, we will never get a train station. How do they know that? From what I've read, train stations in Lake Park, Palm Beach Gardens, and Jupiter are all in the future plans of Tri-Rail. There's no stations yet because funding is the problem, as reflected in several recent newspaper articles. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mary Taylor.
My name is Mary Taylor. I live at 209 Park Avenue. And I want to say thank you to the people who have already spoken. I agree with everything they said. And I would have a hard time adding more at this time. That was a lot to digest. I'm going to talk to you tonight about something different. Oh, hi, commissioners. I forgot to say good evening to everybody. And lawyer. Okay. As you may know, when I adopted Buddy, my dog, I promised to walk him every day, and I do. During our walks, I can't help seeing things that are out of place, like trucks and cars parked over the sidewalk. It's very dangerous because Lake Park children and the elderly have to walk in the busy street, and I'm talking about Park Avenue. They're out in the street with their little bicycles and scooters right in the street. Okay. Also, we pass a big yellow box van truck crowding a side street, and I hear a neighbor complain that she has to look at it every evening. It's from a business, a big business, and it's a big truck, and it's right on the corner of 3rd and Foresteria. I pass it as I walk. And there's also a truck on the corner, southeast corner, in front of the stop sign on 4th and Cypress that's been there forever with a lot of weeds growing underneath of it. It's been there so long. Cars and trailers are parked in front yards again. Okay, the reason I'm bringing this up is it's been a while, but last year, parking was a big issue, important enough to merit a solution. I remember including in the budget was about $750,000 for 2 new sheriff officers for Nautilus, plus a community officer that was going to be largely dedicated to take care of these parking violations in town, because it was when we were talking about the ADUs, and it came up. And I want to know, how is that working out, and how many violations are written a month about the parking violations that were such a problem before? Has any of that been improved? I don't get all over town, but I don't see it in my area. The speed limit of 25 miles an hour on Park Avenue and throughout Lake Park is a joke, especially from 4 to 9 p.m. every day. It is not the amount of traffic or the vehicles, it is the complete disregard of the 25 mile an hour speed limit and the disrespect for the people who reside on the street. And it's not just Park Avenue. Park Avenue, I believe, should have more attention because it's a residential street, just like any residential street, and we do have to put up with a lot. If we don't get a handle on speeding before our thousands of new residents arrive, they will feel entitled also to use the residential streets as a highway.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Okay, that's all the public comments cards I have for this evening. Next we have is the consent agenda. Already we pulled items 3 and 7 from consent. However, I will entertain a motion to approve the remaining items.
Motion to approve the remaining items on consent.
Second,
Second.
we have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, consent passes unanimously. I'm going to go ahead and go to those items first that have been pulled. Item number 3, tree board appointment for Ms. Shayna Phelan. And I will start off with you, Commissioner O'Rourke.
Thank you. I have only one comment on this, and I asked it to be pulled because I don't think that board appointments should be on consent. I think they should appear before the entire commission so that we can have an opportunity to meet people that are volunteering to be on the boards and have an exchange between members that have volunteered their time to serve our community in the service of a board member. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I also don't see that as a, I mean, I'll move it to my other councilman and woman first to see if there's any other comments. Vice Mayor. Or actually, my apologies,
Congratulations.
Commissioner Thomas.
Okay, now. I think the beauty of the consent is that you can always pull it off. And so with all of us, I think what has been very good for me these last couple of months is the efficiency and as well as the time that we have to spend up here has been greatly reduced. I say that because our staff is here from 8 in the morning until whatever time we release them at night, and especially on a Wednesday night, which makes it very difficult for them to try and get up the next morning and be here bright eyes and early, you know. So while others have the luxury of maybe a 9 to 5 or a 9 to 6, we do ask our department heads and sometimes others to be present here. So all I'm saying is that if it stays on a consent, we can always pull it off and have discussions on it. But I think my thoughts are that the reason why we had it on these items on consent is to ensure that we move with efficiency.
Okay, Vice Mayor?
I think both Commissioner O'Rourke and Commissioner Thomas have a nice point about this issue. I do understand the time, and I do like to meet people in person. Maybe we can possibly get a write-up about the person that we get when we get the agenda that we can be able to read more about. Now, I know we get the print up, but some of the stuff I can't really understand. Handwriting, or everybody's handwriting a little different. So maybe we get something typed up that we can maybe be able to understand the candidate, and maybe a number that we can call and maybe reach out to the candidate to have a conversation with the person that's getting appointed before we vote.
Okay, thank you for that. I too understand both viewpoints of Commissioner Thomas as well as Commissioner O'Rourke. It would be good also if the person that is here can also provide themselves a moment just to introduce themselves. Something that could be a plausible solution is to get a confirmation that they will be present at the meeting. And with that, that can be a consideration to either pull them out of consent as well as keep them on consent. If they're not coming to the meeting, they can remain on consent and the efficiency will still be handled that way. However, if they do come to the meeting and would like the opportunity to speak, that could be an opportunity where that time frame can consider them to be an independent item outside of consent. So that's something I think that could be a plausible solution for that. So with that, if there's any other questions, comments, if there is, please say so. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion. And Town Manager, if you could take that under consideration as well.
Motion to approve is what you're saying is going to move
Yeah.
forward?
Item 3.
Okay.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion moves unanimously. Next, we have item number 7, Resolution 260525, 2024-2025 CDBG Award Agreement Revised, Palm Beach County Department of Housing and Economic Development for the splash pad in Kelsey Park at the cost of $400,916. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Commissioner Thomas. Please begin.
Okay. The reason why I requested that this particular item be pulled is that I wanted us as a commission to have some discussion on the water feature that will eventually go out to bid for the drawing of this splash pad. Things that were brought to my attention in reading it is that it would have spray jets. There would be dumping buckets. There would be water canyons for interactive play. And that, to me, was sort of like a sounding board for unhoused individual coming and taking a bath in Kelsey Park. And so it also sounded to me of the maintenance that's going to be involved with maintaining this splash pad the way it is. I had envisioned more a fountain type water feature, much like that I see downtown in West Palm Beach, where it actually shoots out of the ground and it's timed, and that water can be cut off, and I think that it might even be better as far as maintenance is concerned. I'm not sure, but if we're going to do a design, and I also think too that it would be more interactive, not just for the children, for even adults to jump through the fountain as opposed to jumping through the buckets. I mean, it gets hot here in Florida, and no one doesn't want to jump over the Intracoastal and play on the beach when it gets hot. Why not have that opportunity to run through the fountains with our children or with our grandchildren, or even just, by ourselves, that kind of thing. So my thoughts were to try and have some discussion with the commission before we give the direction to our staff for the drawings and construction of something that might not be, feasible. That's all.
Okay, thank you for that, Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner O'Rourke.
Thank you. My concern begins with Section 8 of the agreement, where it discusses program beneficiaries. At least 51% of the beneficiaries of the project must be funded through this agreement, must be low and moderate income persons. I don't know if that would if it would qualify being in Kelsey Park. My understanding is that the funding from this block grant, and I was not on the commission for the last couple of years, so I may be mistaken, and I'm asking for information on this, that the amount of almost $250,000, well, $400,916, whether that is a collection of CBD award grant money over a collection. And as I know, We've used CBD grant money before and held 1 year off so that we can put it with another. I don't know if that happened with this request, but I do know from reading the material that it replaces the idea of having a community center at a location at Bert Bostrom Park. So that the use of CDBG grant money is no longer available for a community center at that park. So if that was something that the commission was interested in, be aware that that is no longer part of our direction. And it would seem to me that a community center at Bert Bostrom Park would certainly be something that would serve our low to moderate income persons in our community a lot better than building a project in the middle of an area that looks to be turning into a higher income area. I have other concerns about it, but I don't mean in bringing up these issues, I don't mean to suggest that it's not a good idea. I think it's a wonderful idea, but maybe it's a wonderful idea from a different fund source. If this fund source goes away, will we have funding available for that 51% of our community where these grants are supposed to go? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Vice Mayor, do you have anything?
No, I would like clarification, or like using this, are we dumping the rec center?
I just before you go, because I know where you're heading with your statement. Initially, the funds were to be allocated for the purpose of the design of a community center. That's what was initially, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Merrill, if that it was for the purpose of the design of the community center.
Correct.
But at the same token, it was then reallocated, I believe, because of we had a, if I'm.
Well, we also had funding approved within our CRA.
Correct.
So we had multiple funding sources to do the design, and then there was potentially some construction that was going to be done. However, the county had concerns with doing the design and not having full construction.
That's the part I was
So this funding was then reallocated to one of the main projects that was identified in your Parks and Rec master plan for Kelsey Park. So that was the reason why this project was brought forward. The county's very supportive of this project in meeting all the requirements for CDBG and meeting low and moderate income. That's been addressed by our staff with the county. So the funding would allow us to be able to go forward with this project. This project, the $400,000, is every year the county has additional dollars that they give to one city, and they have a rotating. The cities rotate. So our year was a year ago or a year and a half ago, and so we've received not only our regular allocation of about $50,000. But we also received this $400,000 as well. So this is in addition to our regular allocation. So there wasn't an actual, adding of, and that's actually a good thing to be able to do a bigger project. And so this was actually great for us. The other opportunity for us to remove this funding from the community center project removes all the federal procurement requirements on that larger project, which could potentially increase our total cost as we go forward with the community center, if that's what you all decide. With that being said as well, we have gone out for RFQ to determine or identify or recommend various engineering firms so that we'll bring those back to you under statute and the requirements under CCNA for the design of the community center. So that funding is still available and potentially going to be used if you all decide to go forward with design.
And that was you basically answered my next question is, did we have the TIF dollars that will be allocated towards the design? Okay.
One question.
Sure, Commissioner O'Rourke.
With regard to this project, if the project is built, and I hope it is, have we, we're going to be coming up with, soon, we're going to be looking at budget items coming up for the upcoming year. Have we, and I know we have, these are preliminary, but would that, with the issues that Commissioner Thomas, I'm sorry. It's been a long day, I'm sorry, I'm very tired today. Commissioner Thomas brought up about maintenance. I would also consider, asked to consider issues with regard to liability and insurance with regard to this project too, and keep those things in mind. Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
I was actually going to touch up on what Commissioner Thomas said, and that's the dump bucket. And so if this is approved, they will design, and then will it come back to the commission for us to approve the design, or? Because it will, okay. Because I would like, to see probably the cost. A dump bucket is a lot of water, and like Commissioner Thomas said, the shoot ups are a little more, less water usage.
Yeah, if there's absolutely a preference to do more of the fountain type of system rather than more of the playground type of system, that's something we can, it's better to know now so that when we do engage with an engineering firm, we're able to let them know.
I love the dump buckets. I use them all the time on the cruise, but the cruise pay for it, so.
Okay. Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah, there are a couple of things I guess I like to address. One is, and I'll ask our town manager about this, you mentioned that there is a rotating fund for the CDBG, okay? And so if my memory serves me correct, that would mean every 7 years or so we would get that lump sum.
I don't know if it's 7, but it's a number of years.
Right? So we would get $50,000 every year because we are a small town or a small city or a small municipality because of our population. But then because there are other small communities too that are in our, that's in the county that also, I wouldn't say compete, but because they're on that rotation, would also be a part of that based on their population. And if I remembered before, I think it's every 7 years. So this would allow, if I'm correct, would allow us to see something actually built and constructed with this CDBG funds, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when we think about the CDBG funds, Community Development Block Grant Funds, so that the members of the public understands that, this 51% as far as low and moderate, what they look at is the overall community, right?
Correct.
And decide where that, how much funding will be given.
Right, as a subrecipient under the county's funding, so there are a number of cities that are considered subrecipients. We're one of them. So those dollars are divided based on our total population, based on different area or zip codes and different populations or neighborhood codes. And so they make that determination based on that.
Okay.
Yes,
I also want to clarify, too, almost all communities in the state of Florida receive community block grants, but it's based on the proportion or the amount, correct?
Yes.
Because those are funds that, if I remember correctly, were federal, and then they sort of like trickle down to the local government, correct?
Yes.
Okay. With that being said, I thought about some benefits of having the fountain, splash pad fountain in Kelsey Park. We have sunset celebrations, there in the the last Friday of each month. And I'm thinking that it's not very often where we have opportunities for the youth to really come and interact. And Kelsey Park, for years, have sort of been known as our community where they always can find something to do for the family, because it really advertises itself being on the main road like that. Right. I'm saying that to say that if we're going to expend those funds, it wouldn't be out of character to have a fountain in an area of Kelsey Park, because it is part of the overall park plan, correct? Right? Mm-hmm. And I think the last time that, is someone ringing the doorbell?
We're good. Go ahead and continue.
I thought they were trying to cut me off.
No.
Because I have stuff to say.
Go ahead.
See, and I lost my trail of thought. So I was like thinking to myself, what a great opportunity, for the town. And I believe the last time we did something in the park was 4 or 5 years ago when we installed the new playground equipment.
That's correct.
Or something like that.
That's correct.
That was
Through
CDBG
fun,
funding.
exactly. It's through that. I am all for beautifying our parks, because we have wonderful parks, and some of it need maintenance, and I love my public works, and you do a good job, of this. But one of the things that we always want to do is to really promote that in our community. And a way to promote community involvement is actually to come to these activities. We do know that we get more than Lake Park when we do our sunset celebrations, but at the end of the day, that park is for our community to celebrate and interact. So therefore, I think that the children had their playground, and I think that a more interesting feature would be, a fountain that could be enjoyed by all, not just children, but it's our community park, really. And while I am all in favor of having a community center, the issues still arise with where we're going to put it at in Bergstrom Park. We've just really kind of like talked about it. We do know that the drainage project is nearing completion. I guess it'll be finished sometime in middle June or so. July? Thank you. But still, that means that that's a ways off too, for us to have those plans drawn to actually commit the funds to it, decide where it's going to go, get it out to bid, and then construction. So we're not 2 years, away. We're several years away, off with that, right?
I agree.
So I'm truly making a cry for support on having us to see something that our community can appreciate. And I think one of the things is being able to look over there and say, wow, the community park is there, but we also have something else that's an asset, and it's for the public. It's not just for a particular neighborhood, but it's our community park. So that's why I would suggest that it be there and not in a lower income. I don't even think if it is, because I think all of Lake Park is sort of like that medium income neighborhood. I think it's just, that would be a better place. Thank you.
Okay. All great points. I think, again, this splash pad was something that was a part of our overall comprehensive plan for the park as it stands. I think the approach to this is something that's attainable a lot quicker in terms of getting a splash pad put into our town as opposed to going for a community center, which take a lengthier amount of time, i.e. design, initiating with the public on what they would like to see. That takes a longer stretch of time to get to that destination. So I think that was the approach into reallocating these funds towards the splash pad, if I'm articulating that correctly. I believe so. So again, this simply is just for the approval of the $400,916.
Right, and then at some point, we'll come back to you with selection
Correct.
of an engineering firm for a contract, and then, of course, design will be approved, and then we'll go out to construction.
Which at that time, whatever we so desire as a council will be put into consideration as we materialize some sort of rendering of what this will look like in the
Yes.
long term.
So immediately after, if approved, we'll either be going out for RFQ or request for qualifications, or we'll select one of our continuing services engineers, and then we'll bring back a contract, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, and then of course, to the public, those watching as well as those here, your input is greatly needed as well, because you're a vital component as well to the overall destination.
And frankly, that's one of the reasons why we've been doing some of the surveys during Sunset Celebration or during our Easter event, where you can go to our table or our booth
Absolutely.
and just, let us know what you'd like to do or what you'd like to see. And I appreciate our events folks doing that, so.
Okay, so do we have any more questions in regards to this item?
I just want to clarify. When we go out for an engineering firm, we're not going out with the engineering firm for a splash pad. We're going out for an engineering firm for,
We would go out, if we can't use one of our continuing services contracts, we would go out for RFQ, which means it's only based on qualifications and experience for this type of project.
Good.
okay, because sometimes, you're sending the RFQ with this design, right? You're saying, here, we want a splash pad being built, give me an RFQ, what would be, so I want to make sure we're just making a request for an engineering firm that can do water features or something like large-scale water features.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
I move to adopt Resolution 260525 to fund and design and construction of this project.
Do we have a second? And I believe, basically, he's approving Resolution 260525 in the award agreement between Palm Beach County Department of Housing and Economic Development for the splash pad of $400,916.
So he just made the first motion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Could we change the resolution so it says, for a water feature? Because by me saying that it's a splash pad, I've already committed to the fact that it's a splash pad. Can we change the heading to say to relocate and to reallocate funds from the community center to what?
I think
that
we would
was
have
on
to
the
change-
that was on the
I
application.
think we would have to change our agreement.
Yeah, we would have to change the agreement. The application asked for a splash pad, and the agreement says splash pad, and we need to return this to them no later than Friday.
What is the definition of the splash pad?
I think it's more toward the intent than a specific definition, and with what the commission has
Because
said.
the reason why I said that, because if they go in my resolution and they say it's going to have a bucket, I'm pretty much saying that is what it is.
No, we're saying that these are options that we're considering, that it may have this, it may have that. Nothing is etched in stone. And now that we have the commission's input on what is desired and what is clearly not desired, that's something, as we move forward. And there is, no scenario in which you would not have final approval on the design.
Yeah, but I don't want the county to go back and says, well, this is what you approved and this is what we're expecting and this is what the design should be.
I don't think the county would say that this is what the design must be. If we are meeting the intent of the project, I think everybody will be fine with that. And that is our ultimate goal.
And Commissioner,
Okay.
If there's we'll have a conversation with them. If there's a
Okay.
concern, we'll
right.
we'll communicate that back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You want me to splash pad?
Huh?
A splash pad is a shallow interactive aquarium play area designed for children, often used as an alternative to a swimming pool.
But I understand where she's
No, I'm
coming
saying,
from.
is that where, that was the, what you were talking about?
She's going based off what the resolution articulates.
Yeah,
And
and
the resolution may specify specifics to what we're actually looking to obtain, is what I'm guessing how you're looking at it.
That too, and if they were to define it, I mean, grant you, it's not defined in,
But are you saying like the one you were talking about, shoot up? I don't know if that.
yeah, but that's what I'm like saying, because that says
I don't think that's
intended for
specific.
children and as an alternative to that. I don't want to delay, or
But
belabor this.
I think this is.
I just want to make sure
this is
that,
just simply about.
okay, they're
obtaining
just
the funding,
moving the funds.
of simply the funds.
Okay,
Okay.
move the funds.
With that in mind, we have no other further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Resolution passes. Okay. I have nothing under quasi-judicial public hearing. I have nothing on ordinance on first reading. However, we do have an ordinance on second reading, ordinance 02-2025, amending section 78-2042, chapter 78, paving and maintenance standards for gravel driveways. Town manager.
During the February 21st, 2024 meeting, the Town Commission approved a 2-year amnesty period for approximately 40 properties within the town with non-conforming gravel driveways, due to the concern that bringing these properties into compliance with the town code by eliminating their gravel driveways could pose an economic hardship. Due to the continued economic impact concerns, the Town Commission has approved an ordinance on first reading amending the town's land development code that would provide for vesting of gravel driveways until a time that the property is either substantially renovated or the driveway is replaced, whichever occurs first. This item was again approved on first reading on April 16, 2025 by the Commission and is being presented for second and final reading. If approved, the proposed ordinance would be effective immediately upon approval.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Nadia, just a quick question for me. It's not really my question, but the concern of one of the public comments towards how there might be a concern for those in terms of the grant and those that have already made their properties basically within compliance of the code. Can you speak on that for me, please?
Sure, and what is the question specifically to that comment?
Will there be a discrepancy with those concerns of people that have already done so, as well as the grant itself? Will that still be, obtainable for those?
Okay.
And how will that work overall?
And I apologize. Good evening, Nadia DiTomaso, Community Development Director. Yes, so typically the grants are available prior to work being completed. If the commission so desires, you can certainly apply a special condition here where they still have the ability to, come back to the town and request some grant funds to help them with the work that they've already done to bring those driveways into compliance. But right now, if they have completed their driveway work, and have not submitted an application for grant funding, they would typically not be eligible at this point.
So in the case of what has been already modified, it's more or less of the timetable where it was required 2 years' time to be within compliance. In this case where it's amended, there is not necessarily a timetable. However, the grant's still in place for those. And if they're doing anything of a major renovation, that would be the time for them to be in compliance with the gravel driveways. Am I correct?
So to the question that was asked regarding the individuals who have already completed their improvements for their gravel driveways to bring them into compliance prior to today, if they did not already submit a grant application to us, normally they would no longer be eligible for those grant funds. However, given the unique circumstances here, if the Town Commission would like to take that up for discussion and still have the grant available to them, staff will certainly move forward in that way.
The intent is for the grant to still be available.
Okay.
I have
Other questions?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas last time brought up I believe it was Commissioner Thomas, brought up the issue with regard to the grant being available for persons who have homesteaded properties as opposed to those that were what we would call investor properties. And I'm wondering if you addressed that.
Yes, that was the issue that was brought up the last time. I had included it in the agenda request form to indicate that, staff will be following through on that direction from the town commission, in that the property owners who are homesteaded would be eligible per the town's commission direction.
But is that included in the statute? In the ordinance, I'm sorry?
The direction was not to include it in the ordinance language, but just to make sure that administratively our grant application would be available to them because the grant application is an administrative function.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Commissioner Thomas?
So it's by administrative discretion.
It's per the criteria that's set up with the grant application. And so that would have been a special condition for the gravel driveways per the discussion at the last meeting.
What was the purpose of not including that in the ordinance?
Normally, the application requirements is not part of is not a codified, it's not codified in the code. So it's not part of the actual ordinance. The town code does not currently refer to the Community Development Grant Fund or its application requirements. That is an application that is available administratively.
So when an applicant needs to inquire, in other words, they wouldn't necessarily know.
They would, because that application would be updated so that they have the updated criteria to understand their eligibility.
Okay, so in the eligibility requirements, that will be stated there.
Correct.
Okay, so I want to be clear. This would be only for those 40 properties that have gravel driveway.
Correct.
Not asphalt driveway. Those that were already a part of the resolution.
The original
Initial
resolution that was approved for the amnesty, yes.
Okay.
Right.
And so they will follow with those properties.
Correct.
And those properties then would be identified whether or not they are homestead. So how would okay, so that's the discussion you're waiting for. Whether
No.
or not this commission would look to only approving administratively those properties that are homestead.
No, that discussion occurred at first reading, and we were clear on the direction that was provided. The discussion this evening was from the public comment, whereby would the grant application be available to those retroactively, to those who have already made the improvements, and as the town manager indicated, it would be.
Okay. And so then my question now is, how would you confirm that the property is homestead? I mean, I know, and I want to stop. We get a form every year, that you get, okay, your property's been homestead. So for 2025, I got my paper in January that it's homestead.
The property appraiser's website does identify the properties that are homesteaded, and we use that as a resource.
So in February, stop laughing. In February,
Sorry.
I rent my property.
It's not updated.
But my property is rented. And I got my homestead paper in January.
We can only use the most up-to-date records that are in the property appraiser's website. And if there is, if the property owner were to come back to us with some different information, we would have to call the property appraiser's office directly to verify that.
But they wouldn't necessarily know unless they register with us with the BTRs, right? Do we have people, are our homes being registered
For
anyone
rental properties.
that are renting their properties?
Yes, we do have rental business tax receipt requirements.
So that would be probably the only other way for you to know.
We could require utility bills and different, mailings that show that that property is being used as well.
You get what I'm saying?
We can.
I mean, we can't like, close every, loophole, but do you understand what I'm saying?
We can
Okay.
ask for additional information.
Okay.
You can also.
Verification that the homeowner is actually residing at the property.
Right. And you can also provide a request, a public records request to the property appraiser with this list here of these properties with the PCNs involved, that they can provide you a status quo of current.
Current situation. Yes,
Of
thank
at
you.
that time of request, whether it's homestead or not.
Yep, thank you.
I mean, I know, I have a huge issue with us the town being good Samaritans and being good neighbors. And then we're taken advantage of. And when I say we, I mean the people that are here in the audience and at home, your dollars get taken advantage of. Because we want to encourage, home ownership. We want to encourage beautification of properties. We want to encourage families to come into our town. But then we extend those incentives, and what we get back, our residents get back, or sometimes some unscrupulous individuals. And so it makes me very concerned about that, and especially since we are a small community with a small, eclectic, character to us. And I just want to make sure that we try to do our best, that those funds go to those individuals that it's intended for.
Of course.
Thank
That is
you.
our ongoing goal and objective.
Thank you.
All good?
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? Vice Mayor? Commissioner O'Rourke? I'll entertain a motion
For what?
for the ordinance.
I was thinking adjournment already, sorry.
Okay.
I
I will
move.
entertain a motion for this ordinance.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 022025, amending section 78142, chapter 78 of paving and maintenance standards of driveways, gravel driveways, on the second and final reading.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ordinance passes. Town Attorney?
Ordinance 2, 2025, an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Lake Park, Florida, amending Section 78142 of Chapter 78 pertaining to paving and maintenance standards for driveways, providing for a vesting period, providing for the repeal of laws in conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you. We have one item in the new business, item number 10, special event requests for the upcoming Lake Park Music and Food Festival. Renedy?
Good evening, Renedy Frank, Special Events Director. On February 8th, 2025, the Special Events Department received the special event permit application proposing the Lake Park Music and Food Festival to be held on Saturday, May 24th, 2025, from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. in Kelsey Park. The event is expected to include live entertainment by various artists, arts, craft, food, and beverage vendors, a kids zone with bounce houses, face painting, games, and activities, as well as a VIP area. In the agenda item, there is more information regarding the bands that will be playing at the event. This is a ticketed event with an expectation of 800 attendees. General admission is $15, VIP admission is $35, and tickets at the gate will be $35 as well. VIP tickets are proposed to include the event entry, one drink at the bar. There will also be a private bar and private portable restrooms in the VIP area, special seating and food from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. catered by Lake Park, Texas Roadhouse. A portion of the event proceeds are proposed to be donated to the Wounded Veterans Relief Fund. the Andrea C. Cameron Foundation, Joanne Benjamin Cancer Fund, Palm Beach County Police Benevolent Association, and Little Smiles, Florida. The event organizers have met with town staff from the Special Events Department, PBSO, Fire Rescue, Community Development, Public Works, to go over the event application. We've actually had several meetings. And so right now, the event organizers are requesting that the town sponsor the event and assist with promoting and marketing the event, as well as approve the following special event requests, which are required to be approved by the town commission. And they are the marketing assistance, which I just mentioned, extending the park hours from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., closing the outside lanes of Park Avenue for parking, using the town hall and CRA parking lot as parking areas for their shuttle stops, as well as a rental fee reduction of one-day rental fee of the park, which is $500. That $500 is an indirect cost to the town. It's not a direct cost. The event organizers are here in case you guys have any questions for them. So with that, I guess if you have questions for me or the organizers, we'd be glad to answer them.
Why don't we have the organizer come up?
Good evening. My name is Craig Lemonovich, and I'm part of Bands, Burgers, and Brews. There's a committee of three of us back there, Mitch and Andy, and our office is in Lake Park as well on Old Dixie Highway.
I'm sorry, he didn't hear you.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. Can you repeat that last part for me?
We have a business that's at 1401 Old Dixie Highway in Lake Park, Suite 105. Well, it's 102, 3, 4, and 5, I believe.
Okay. Do we have any questions for staff or the organizers? Commissioner Thomas?
Yeah. Short notice. I mean, that's 2.5 weeks for an event that we're anticipating to have 800 people, of which 500 tickets would be going to the town residents.
It was submitted in February. I think it's just a little bit of a lengthy process, I guess. So we could meet with you guys. We've had how many?
So we first met with them February 8th is when we actually received the permit application. Normally, we don't bring these requests to the commission unless there actually is a request that we cannot approve through the department. And so because of the couple of things that we just could not approve ourselves, and then just some issues with the site plan and parking plan that we wanted to make sure were corrected before we brought it before you all with the questions on the outside lanes of Park Avenue, using the parking lot, and of course the rental reduction rate.
Yeah, I have an issue with this because it's like I'm 2.5 weeks from the event and we're asking the town to do the marketing on it. So I almost feel like I'm beaten if I do it and I'm beaten if I don't. So if you rely on the town to do the marketing and you don't get 800 people that show up, I'm beat up. And if you rely on the town and you do get 800, that's 200. That's just 2.5 weeks for us to try and get to drum up that. I think that the event itself is nice. I just think it's very, very short, and I would think especially with something as big as this. This weekend is Mother's Day, which means what, 10 days from there, 11 days from there, you're going to have a gigantic festival like that's going to be in Kelsey Park. So I don't know about Merrill. I don't know if her and Lamar could actually try and do that on the part of the town in such short notice to get that, because I would imagine something like this should have been on the airwaves and everything to try to get that type of audience here. So I don't know.
Well, the marketing question isn't so that the town could get people to come to the event. The marketing question is just so that Merrill and Lamar can put the event flyer on the town calendar.
Who's making up the calendar?
Merrill and Lamar.
Exactly.
Well, we just need them to put the flyer on the town calendar, not for Merrill and Lamar to try to find people to attend the event.
When you market it for a town, what you're saying is that you're using our resources in order to publicize that.
Well,
I'm just like saying that, okay?
Well,
why else would I want to utilize the town's social media and all of that if it's not coming from us? I'm just saying to you, I haven't heard it on WPTV. I mean, I haven't heard it on any other places in regards to this. And that's work for us. I just think it's a little bit too short notice. I like it. I just think that's a lot.
They were on Channel 12 a couple of weeks ago.
How many
They were
weeks
during
ago?
the morning news. Maybe like two.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago. So we don't need the marketing. We figured we wanted to bring this because we knew you guys had a lot of events, and we started promoting this ourselves a few months ago. Once we applied, when we had the meeting, it was all positive. We just had a couple problems with our parking. Now, we met an owner at Village Shops at 101 North, or US Highway 1. We put them on the insurance. They're all good with parking there. We don't need to disrupt any of the residents. The residents are free. We're doing this for several charities. So we already have a bus in play. We already have the owner of Village Shops allowing as many cars that needs to park there. They're on the insurance. So we don't need the marketing. I think we would like a little assistance with the marketing, but we already offered 1,000 tickets to the veterans, VetTix.
For an event that we haven't yet approved for the 24th?
So our normal process for special events is not necessarily that the town commission approves the event itself, approves, the organizer trying to have the event in town. The requests are things that we cannot approve administratively. Like last year, we had a Pink Fest in Kelsey Park. I believe it was maybe October 26th. That event did not come before the commission because there was nothing that they were requesting that we could not approve administratively. The Haitian Flag Day event, it does not come before the commission to be approved as an event itself. It only comes when there is something that they are asking for that we as staff cannot approve.
Also?
So you cannot approve the advertisement, you cannot approve the
I can't
parking.
I can't tell Merrill to put the
Approve the-
flyer on the calendar, right?
You cannot approve the
The $500
reduction.
Right.
And the extended park hours as
Right.
well.
And you
Yes.
cannot approve the Saturday from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m.
We can't approve from 9 to 10.
Yes, Mayor.
I just want to state that probably I was on social media a lot and probably my school that I don't know which one of you three guys I was talking to, but I saw it in February and I started Facebooking you, messaged one of you guys, and you guys started giving me information about it, and I hear a lot at my school about it, a lot of people planning to come. At first I asked myself, and I think I said a lot on the dice, what do Lake Park get from it? Because the residents need to be feeling some kind of way. I kind of asked one of you guys, I don't know who I'm talking to, and then you guys are allowing the CRA is going to be there with a booth. The library is going to be there with a booth. You're giving the residents 500 tickets, and you guys figure out the parking. for it. I did see your clip on the news, and I think a lot of people are talking about it. But I want to make sure we have this straight. Because I was asked to post advertisement. And I see it all. I see it. I can't get on Facebook or any social media site, and I see your post, your ad running about the event, which is, I applaud you bringing this event to Lake Park. But the request, if I'm correct, is for them to put it on, for Merrill to put it on our Facebook site, correct?
For Merrill to not necessarily put it on the town's Facebook, but yes,
Post
on the
it.
calendar and just post the flyer for them, not to, do an advertisement or do it more than once. It's the same thing that we do for the Haitian Flag Day event or other things.
And send it for an hour at the park, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, my next question is, how will we find out, how will we get the 500 tickets? How will we know that the residents, would you check their license or, okay, that's my question. That's it.
And going back to the advertising, you're providing staff with the flyer, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
It's basically flyers that you've already done, because I know you've done a lot of social media. I know especially. But those are the flyers basically you would extend to them, and you guys would then put it on the website upon approval.
Mhm.
Okay. And another question that one of our councilmen had that isn't here, have you notified the neighboring communities of this event, more specifically towards the east end of town, where the event will be taking place?
Yes, we've walked Kelsey Park several times, and we spoke to a lot of residents on the north side and the apartments, right where the band's going to be, and we told them they're welcome in free, and we're having an event. Are you good with an event? They said, heck yeah, we're excited. So we've spoken to many people. We have several Lake Park businesses that are sponsors of this that we're very excited. You have Mr. Golf Cart that's on Old Dixie Highway, Performance Motorsports. He's a retired PBSO deputy. He has a Performance Auto Sports on Old Dixie. You got Royal Bath, Deviate on US 1, just north of where we found the parking, or south. Lido Ryder Smith and Fronrath, the law firm, they're not located in Lake Park, and they're a sponsor. Window Doctor. Window Doctor is a presenting sponsor. We have Embrace for Autism Kids. They're right on US 1. They're sponsors of ours. Florida Window Tinting, which is another Lake Park event. Once Andy spoke to the owners of Texas Roadhouse in Lake Park, they were all open arms. So what we did is we incorporated that to the VIP. If there's 1,000 Lake Park residents with an ID card, they're more than welcome to come in. If they want to upgrade to go in VIP, we'll probably pull a lot of them in there anyway. We just wanted to bring an event to benefit everybody. We did one in Jupiter, and it was great. We used to come here in Kelsey Park years ago before COVID, and I wanted to start seeing stuff south here and in Lake Park.
Yeah, I've heard of your events that you've had up in the Jupiter area, and got none but rave reviews on that. So,
And
Commissioner O'Rourke, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
I'll wait for comments.
Okay.
And I also contacted the HOA presidents of 501 and 801 because they're so close to the park.
And that's kind of where I was going at with the presidents. That way they in turn can let their specific condo groups know
Yes.
of the event that is coming. I'm sure you'll have some that you'll see in attendance as well.
I can tell you they're not going to pay, though. They're going to be up on their balconies. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so.
But they're going to enjoy that.
Any more questions, Commissioner Thomas?
I do. You stated that there was going to be like a shuttle?
There is. We hired Charter Up, which is going to have a 28-person bus.
Are they going to be, because I see one here is like the public plaza parking lot. So I'm imagining that it is here at the promenade? Yes?
The promenade is the front, which is owned by Publix. And then you have the village shops that are located on the east side. So we reached out to the owner, and they were very well, big open arms, and that's where BurgerFi and stuff is. And we are hiring an attendant, because I told her whatever she needs for us to be able to use, because Publix wasn't very recipient because of liability. So the owner of Village Shops reached back to us within 2 hours, said, absolutely, what can we do? And I said, what do you want us to do? You have one section of business open. It's called True Treasures. True Treasures, that is still open in there. So the only thing is we can't park in 8 spots. So we're going to have somebody out there for 10 hours in that parking lot, making sure nobody parks in those 8 little spots. And then the charter is going to go from there. We're not picking, we're picking everybody up from there. There's somebody going to be there, and they're going to start at 11:30 in the afternoon and go till 10:30. And I've been speaking with, I've known Captain Thibodeau for 30 years. He came to the meeting that Riuniti had for us. They're already hired. Maybe I don't know what the timing was with everything, but they're already bought and paid for yesterday. There's 5 deputies there. Friday afternoon when they set up from 5 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning till I get there again. We have complete chaos. He's a captain of Tequesta Fire Department. It's his company, and he's done stuff for us before, so he'll have security there. And the reason we wanted, it's fenced in, the reason we didn't want it a total open event was because we just wanted to be able to monitor it for people that are sponsors and people that just feel comfortable. But we have no problem. Anybody in Lake Park brings an ID card, go have fun. We got a bounce house. That's Andy does business with them. They're a great guy. He's a nice guy, and we'll get some finger painting. Maybe that's what happens. But glitter painting for the kids. It's a very kid-friendly event. A lot of local vendors. I guess it's Poor Girls right here on Park Avenue. She's calling up. She wants to be here. There's just a lot of people in Lake Park. So we focused on people that had businesses in Lake Park and we opened it up. Now, this is new for us. We would like to make this a yearly thing. And then next year, now that we all met and you guys come, and hopefully you guys come and have fun, then we can focus on charities within Lake Park. So what we do it for, we've been Little Smiles. We picked out Big Dog last time. We did the scholarship fund. But if it's a local fund, all I need is a phone call for next year, and we'll put them on. And we take it's expensive to put an event like this on when you do a big fence like that, but in security and everything else. But we give back proceeds of each event. We gave $10,000 back to Bands, Burgers, and Brews in Abacoa. And we asked for a little bit of reduction in the fee because it's our first year and we're trying to give back more to. And then I was on with Sam Carrington on Channel 12 2 weeks ago with Tyler Cameron, The Bachelorette, and we're giving back to their scholarship fund. But if there's a scholarship fund in Lake Park next year, we're there. All we got to do is be notified.
Thank you. Riuniti, please. Could we ensure that the residents that are at least a block or two off US 1 West are made aware of that? I do recall that when the car show used to occur at Village Shops, they would be parking all along 2nd and, Palmetto all the way up to Ilex at times, like in the swale areas, right? And so knowing that parking is going to be occurring at the Village Shops, is it paid parking? Okay, free parking, right? Individuals who want to get closer are more likely to be parking up and down our roads. And so I don't know if we want to do barricades or if we want to at least inform the residents there too that they will probably be getting a little bit more traffic that'll be going on there, because we do know that there is an area on Greenbrier and 2nd that that's an issue as well. which is only 1 block north of Park Avenue, right? So I just want us to be aware of that and to give those residents or something like that notification that this is like happening, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Only one last question. Just so you know, we are transitioning into being like a golf cart community. Has there ever, and this might be a question more for you, Reniti, has there been any considerations to that?
To be able to park the golf cart at the event, or?
Right. Well, I know they can't get in the
But
gate,
specific-
obviously, because the whole thing will be gated. But is there a,
Remember, we got the fence that goes straight across, so there's probably plenty of golf carts. You guys don't have a problem with that. Captain Thibodeau's got it, you know what's going on.
We'll figure out a designated golf cart parking area.
again, I'm just saying that because like with the Sunset Celebration,
Yes.
you see a consistency now of golf carts coming in, so that's all I have. Any other questions? Commissioner O'Rourke, you sound like you have.
That you brought up the golf cart. I thought that the ordinance didn't allow golf carts to go across Park Avenue.
You're allowed to go US 1.
You go across
You're allowed to
I mean,
drive.
US 1. that's
You're
right.
allowed to cross
Cross it.
US 1. You're not allowed to go
At the-
onto US 1 as a part of the traffic.
Okay. But, and is that at the Park Avenue US 1 spot right there? Because that's probably the safest, I'm sorry, I wasn't talking there.
No, that's okay.
That's probably the safest place for that to happen. And if we're going to be doing that at night, that
would
would be a
agree.
good thing.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, I think we've exhausted all questions, I would think, right? So I will,
Mayor,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
event organizer just has one more thing.
sure, go ahead.
Can we have the vendors and some of the band members that need to be closer? Another request that I have, can we close Lakeshore Drive right in front of Kelsey Park? Because we're only on the east side, and the gate goes all the way around, like from the tennis court. The emergency entrance is going to be on the north side by the apartment, and then the fence goes all the way across.
Sorry to
and
interrupt you, but you said the apartment, you mean 801?
Is that?
That's the north side?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So that will be the emergency entrance for the fire medics and the police, if need be. And then the fence goes all the way to where the center is, and then it goes to the water. And the entrance is up there, and the emergency's over there. But for the vendors and stuff, because we're putting on, whatever you guys want us to put on, we're not going to add any extras, like parking these, The Public Works sent me a bill for putting signs out for Park Avenue, but we're going to try to tell everybody to go to Village Shops. Plus, some of the people can park at some of the sponsors that only people like the different sponsors, but the band and stuff, the bands are 6 bands through the day. So we need to get them close to if Lakeshore Drive, I know you got the barricades there on each side, I think the poles or whatever. But I haven't spoken to Captain Thibodeau. I spoke to him yesterday about where they're going to strategically locate people, if there's somebody going to be there. So, that's the only other request I have is, can we use Lakeshore Drive right when people are still going to be able to walk there, but parking?
Okay. Absolutely, Commissioner Thomas.
Have you done pre-sales already?
Yes.
What are you right now as far as pre-sales?
We're at 249 veteran tickets. We go on vet ticks and we go on law enforcement. We let law enforcement and public servants in for free. We're at 90 VIPs, not including the packages for each sponsor. And we have about 1,000 tickets given out to random Lake Park businesses and residents already. So when we go down to Country Kitchen, we gave them probably 300. I just gave, where did we just go? Pelican, is it Pelican? Right?
Yeah.
I just gave Pelican 50 tickets, just general admission tickets. We're just trying to get people to, come on in and enjoy food and vendors and
And music.
And music, yes, we have some great music.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, so again, just to in addition to the
Before,
request-
we're having like discussion here
Sure.
instead of questions. I'm going to make a motion so we can have discussion.
Okay. Now, you are also including with that motion?
Yes.
Okay,
The closing of Lakeshore.
you're on.
I move to accept the consideration of the proposed special event request to support the 2025 Lake Park Music and Food Festival, and including, in addition to those things requested, the closure of the block area between Kelsey Park and Lakeshore Park.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I think I want to, before we move on, do we have to do anything to close the roads with residents, like any signature?
We have second and then we'll discuss.
Okay. All right, well,
We need a second?
Second for
Well, second.
discussion.
Thank you.
Second for discussion.
Thank you. Okay.
oh.
As you were.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Good afternoon, Jamie Morales, Public Works Director. Just want to clarify a couple of points. The request to close Lakeshore Drive was presented originally when the application was submitted. Then it was retrieved. In this part of the ballgame, putting back that request will require them to submit MOT plans. They have to cover the cost of closing out the streams of Lakeshore Drive, making sure that everything is secure. So it's not just approving the closure of the road, it requires additional components with either the sheriff department and complying with us, making sure that they have the proper MOT, that everything's in place in order for us to be able to approve the closure of that road.
So if we approve it here, it still have to go through the process of
They have to submit all the documentation, plus they have to ensure that they're going to not only provide the MOT plans, but implement the plan on their end.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Discussion? Yes.
We have a first and a second.
Yes.
Okay.
For discussion.
Yes, sir.
I think this is fantastic. We have had events at Kelsey Park before. We had the Pirate Fest about 7 years ago. It was a great success. There was no issues with that. People enjoyed it. There was a nationally known band,
Montgomery
Marshall
Gentry.
Tucker Band was there, and that was a great event. This seems to be a little different because you're closing off the park, which I think is a much better idea because it brings control to the area. I want to thank Riuniti and her staff for helping with this application, and I want to particularly I want to congratulate and thank the event applicant. Your organization has helped many different charities throughout the years. I'm familiar with your organization. You have included events such as the Garlic Fest in Lake Worth, which is a big event down there, the Jupiter Seafood Festival, Wellington Bacon and Bourbon Fest, and the Delray Affair. You also, you had the band Burgers and Brews. I thought there was dogs involved in that, but I may have been wrong on that. But maybe it's just Abaco and they let the dogs come in. But, which would raise the question, who let the dogs out? But I'll refrain from that one. I want to thank you for the efforts you've made to try to get this thing going. And I think it would be a good idea to make this an annual thing. I've always been a strong supporter of the music and arts area for our town. So you also, I want to highlight that you have really included the businesses from Lake Park. In particular, the Lake Park Texas Roadhouse is a new business that's just opened. And maybe in our town, people don't even know that, the Roadhouse is down there. And
they know.
Yeah, they do.
They
I know.
know.
But, and the last thing I want to mention is I'm familiar with music in this local area. You have many really good bands going on throughout the day. I don't know how you're going to stick to the schedule. I've been on these events. It's a difficult thing getting them on and off stage, so good luck with that. And at the prime time, 6:30 to 7:30, you have 56 Aces, which is a very popular band that people will really enjoy. And then finishing off the night with Girlfriend Material. Those bands are well known through the North Palm Beach area and through Palm Beach County in itself. So I thank you for bringing this type of event to our town. This is the type of event that gives our town notoriety, and the project that you're putting together is also something that helps the veterans, it helps other charities, and I thank you for coming to our town and choosing our town to be the place where you want to put an event on like this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Thomas.
My only objection at this point would be closing Lakeshore Drive. And the reason why I say that now is that if it wasn't somewhat cost prohibitive, because they have to get an engineer to do the whole mode of transportation, the MOT, it wouldn't be a request. And I don't want to create a burden on the, what do you use that word? The coordinators for this. And by approving the closure, it's going to put the burden on them to have to come back, for them to meet that. And I sorely believe that they'll be able to meet doing the MOT in time for it. Because I think if it is, we wouldn't be having this discussion now. That would have been something that would have been handled at the staff level. So if you could honor, some of the things that I mentioned, earlier, I would do that without closing Lakeshore Drive. Because I think that I agree with Commissioner O'Rourke here that we certainly want to bring attention, to our community. I certainly like this event. I would like to see more types of events like this. However, it's going to be a little difficult too, just trying to circumvent around there during those 3 days. So I would say no to the closure.
Okay. Thank you. Vice Mayor?
I'm in agreement. I thank you guys for bringing an event like this to Lake Park. Thank you for giving the residents a chance to enjoy themselves and give them tickets. Also, I applaud you guys for having an office here in Lake Park, just being a part of our community. I hope everything turned out well, and I hope fun. I hope we have our parking for golf carts, and everybody get to enjoy themselves.
Thank you for that. I don't think I need to say much more. I'm very appreciative of you guys, of what you're bringing. I've spoken to one of the organizers who I know very well, and when we had this discussion, you simply asked me what do I want as a resident, as a councilman, and just an event that can bring out the public, bring out the community, and I think you're accomplishing that. You've already proven yourself in other areas. And I know in every community, they have different rules and regulations. So this for you guys is also a pilot in learning about our ordinances, our rules and regulations as far as hosting an event. So I know it's something that you're going to get used to within the first year. Next year, you'll fine tune it, and it'll get easier as time progresses. We hope that you continue to do things here in our community. And I know you also asked me if there was any other things. I know I've mentioned to you, if you have another secondary event, a consideration would be our downtown, which is a big area that is in need of an influx of an event to bring into our town. And that would be great. No pressure or anything. But something to bring in. So I thank you. I look forward to it. I will be there myself. And with that, we can call for the vote. But if you got something else?
Yeah, just one question. Reuniti and Merrill, when you stated that it would be posted on the calendar, that's the only thing that's going to be posted on? No, it's going to be like, it's going to go through our avenue of PR, right?
It will be added to our calendar as an event, and it'll be on our social media. We will just place the flyer on our social media.
Okay.
We will also, if the MOT is approved, I'll have to post something on all our social media to let everybody know roughly a week in advance that the road is going to be closed.
Okay.
Designated parking will be, that kind of thing too?
Yes, but mostly that the road is going to be closed because the people who are not in attendance, who may be inconvenienced, we need to make them aware of that in advance.
Yeah, and just so that too, that we make sure too that we have that we're directing, where parking will be.
That is absolutely always, whenever we have a road closure or any traffic changes, it's all included.
Okay, thank you for that. And then lastly, Unity, will they have like a sheriff directing, or how would I know they did say that they provided private security, but I'm thinking that should secure the vending site. But
right, so yeah, they went through, PBSO has their own off-duty permit officer process. So they've already gone through that process with PBSO. They've already told them the number of deputies that will need to be there that day. They've already paid for those as well. So
okay.
They're straight. They've done everything with PBSO.
And then finally, when we do events like that, we inform the people, all the residents up to down on Park Avenue. Do we let them know
about the event?
Yeah, since they're going to be using Park Avenue, aren't they going to be using Park Avenue for parking for event?
Right. So they're going to do the outside lanes like we do for Sunset Celebration. So yes, we would.
Right. We'll let them know that these 3 days, right? That's going to happen now.
Well, it will only be for the one day, just for Saturday.
Okay.
Just during the event.
Okay.
Yep.
And that the point of the road closure, that's only for Saturday, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I think we're good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you again, gentlemen, and we look forward to the event. Thank you. All right, town attorney comments.
Thank you, Mayor. A memo dated April 15th from me to the town manager was distributed. This memo is in response to Commissioner O'Rourke's request that the commission be informed regarding the current voting method of the town commission for town commissioners, and I suppose to start the dialogue on whether the commission would like to revisit the charter and the voting method. Turning to the conclusion of the memo, the consent decree with the Department of Justice that was entered into that led to this current voting method does not prohibit the town from returning to an at-large staggered terms voting method. There is, if the commission does that, if there is a referendum conducted and if it is returned, it does not prohibit an individual with standing or the Department of Justice to return to Lake Park and investigate whether there is still polarized voting. So it's really up to the commission. The only way to really establish that before you go out for a referendum, if that's what the commission were decided to do, would be to do your own study to determine whether there's still polarized voting that exists in the town. As the memo discusses, that was done several years ago by Dr. Engstrom, and his conclusion after examining the voting records was that there was still polarized voting. However, that's been about 10 years. Things can change. I think it's worth pointing out that although it took two elections, the limited voting system that was put in place has resulted in black commissioners being elected to the town commission, which had never happened prior to the switch in the voting system. So I suppose if you were asked to ask the Department of Justice, they would say, see, it worked. But you have the memo. If you choose to put it on for an agenda item in the future for discussion, then I'm happy to continue to address it as best I can. Haven't had much luck getting a hold of my old friend Ernest McFarland at the Department of Justice, even though Mr. McFarland told me he was a lifer. I don't know how close he was to retirement, so it could be. But at any rate, you have that memo. Second item is that the zoning in progress is expiring before your next meeting. If it is not extended, and you don't have to extend it, obviously, then any of the Kimley Horn study is well underway. That study is going to provide some useful data and analysis on your current zoning district and your current comprehensive plan policies. And that data and analysis would be available, and I presume some of it presented in the event either of the two pending applications are brought forward before any changes are to occur. Now, the forest development application is pretty far along in the process. The other application is, they haven't been responding to the comment letters that they've received from staff. So I think, if either of those projects were to move forward or asked to move forward, then it would likely be the forest development project that would be poised to come to you because it's already been to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And those are my comments.
Okay, thank you. Town Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With regards to this weekend, there is an event on Saturday, May 10th from noon to 1 p.m. where certified WPBF 25 first warning weather meteorologist Brooke Silverang will be here in Town Hall to make a hurricane-ready presentation to our town residents to help prepare and educate individuals and families with a disaster plan prior to beginning this year's hurricane season, which is only a few weeks away. Again, the presentation will be here in our commission chambers. It's free to everyone, and the event will be live streamed on our website as well as on our YouTube channel and Facebook Live. As a reminder to our public also, the Haitian Flag Day celebration will be on Saturday, May 17th from 3 p.m. to 8:45 p.m. at Bethlehem Haitian Baptist Church. Of course, the event will include live performances, food, art, craft vendors, cultural activities, basketball game, and a soccer match. I'm bringing my boots. And then for Memorial Day, the town will be hosting a Memorial Day celebration in Kelsey Park on Monday, May 26th at 11 a.m. The event is being sponsored by our local VFW Post 9610. Also, just one other quick announcement, and this is one that I've already made you aware of, but I want to make sure that the public is aware. We have one of our excellent employees who's been here for a considerable amount of time. We talk about succession planning and growing from within. I'm proud to announce that our interim finance director, who was our assistant finance director, is now our finance director. So, Barbara Gould. Barbara is, an amazing employee here. She's well respected and, of course, very knowledgeable. And I'm excited to work with her through the budget process. I appreciate all of her efforts over the 4 months that I've been here, and she's just very impressive. And I'm surprised that it's taken this long, Barbara. But I'm proud of you, and thank you. So.
Well deserved. Very well deserved.
I did. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner comments, I will start to my right on the end. Commissioner O'Rourke. Yes,
I want to address some of the things in the memo from the town attorney. I don't think that the statement of elections is accurate. First of all, wanting to allow people to vote for all of their commissioners that are up for election is a good thing. We've grown up as a community, and we take pride in the fact that this is our commission. The idea that it wouldn't happen if we went to a different system. When I spoke about it the first night, I suggested a modified version of it where there would be different, where you would divide the town into 2 separate districts. That would be the first aspect of it. That was one of the proposals that were offered back during the original DOJ lawsuit that was brought against the town. You can't elect a person of color if they choose not to run. And if that was the history of our town, I think we're beyond that now. And I would point out that Roger Mashad was not only elected as mayor, but he was elected without opposition, too. So I point those things out for a reason, because this is a special community. We are a community of diversity. And this idea that by allowing people to vote for all of their commissioners is going to create some discrepancy with regard to race. I don't think that the elections, the recent history of the elections, show that. And so I think we should move forward with allowing their residents to vote for 4 commissioners. And that's just my view on that. The other thing I do want to address is I want to congratulate Barbara for becoming the finance director. It's been a position, as you know, Barbara, that has kind of like moved in and out of waves of we hope you're there for a long time. And my pity to you for the upcoming budget process that you will be heading up this year. So I wish you luck with that, and I give you my support with that. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Thomas.
Okay, good evening. 3 things I had. One, I wanted to say thanks to Public Works that I see the golf cart signs being posted around, not the low-speed vehicle sign, but the golf cart signs being posted along within our local roads here in town, and it just makes my heart skip. And then I wanted to bring this to the attention, because I don't really even know if our town residents know that we have neighborhood block party grants that are available for our community. I think the first one, and I'd like to hear about that in a minute, but we talk consistently about community engagement. And the other day I was at one of the chambers roundtable and having this discussion about how do we ensure that information gets out. And we were telling them all of the various services that we use to get information out to our community. And I'm and it still appears as though when you speak to some of our residents that they weren't aware of what's going on. So I thought to myself, what's the best way of doing this? And that is for us to really take the opportunity to get to know our neighbors. How can we get to know our neighbors? Utilize these neighborhood block grants to get to know our neighbors. I know it's not very familiar here in South Florida. This is probably something is more familiar in the Northeast, but we often here in our town say how eclectic and quaint our community is, and it's just so special, and we are trying to create something authentic, and we're looking at communities outside of our community, trying to figure out how do we promote community engagement. And I thought to myself, in order to do that, we need to get out of our homes and get to know our neighbors. And I don't want to just get to know my neighbor when it's during campaign, when I'm knocking on the doors. I really want to get to know my neighbors because we're only 2.4 square miles, of which most of it is very compact within Silver Beach, Old Dixie Highway, and North Lake, and US 1. That's where the bulk of our residents are. So why don't I know my neighbor? Why don't I know who's here and who's not? And in order to do that, we need to get out. And so this is my push to encourage our community to utilize these grants that are available so that we can have ice cream sundaes, or we can have opportunities to do a little competition with our neighbors there. How do we do that? Engage. And so I want to state that I am a commissioner here, And I've heard comments about, oh, well, the commissioners shouldn't use this grant. Well, I'm going to use this grant because I want my neighbors to come out and be a part of what's going on here. And my intent is not to speak any political issues. This is a way for us to have eyes on the street. This is a way for us to have community policing in our community. So I would encourage that we do that. The other thing that I do want to mention is the other thing that I want to do is that if we build a community of engagement, if we build it, people will come. People come to our community because they see how quiet it is. They see that the fact that we don't have high crime. They see that the cohesion that's on this commission, and it makes them feel good. I will say, I was doing an interview during my campaign and just speaking about the truth, and that is that we all get along. I had individuals to say, I want to move to your community. I don't know what that's like, not to have commissioners that are yelling and screaming at each other or trying to fight against each other, but we are all in this together and that we want to build a better community together. Having said that, Mayor Rourke, I agree we ought to have a better voting system. But I look back at it, and it took 100 years in this day and time. 100. And it's not true that we didn't have a person of color who tried to run. They did. There's evidence. There's Palm Beach Post articles. There is cases on this. And when we say that this is not racially divided, I don't want it to be. But I will tell you something. We have individuals that are above us that make that an issue. I don't want to make that an issue in my community. I don't. I don't want a divided community. I don't like the fact that even until today, and yes, I say it because I can speak to my colleagues here, where I've had individuals to drive in my driveway, and tell me about myself. And the mayor would know because we had one individual drive right through my driveway while he's standing in my yard.
Yep.
And he said, "Did you see that?" I said, "All the time." And he said, "Do you say anything?" I said, "No, I'm afraid to. I'm a commissioner. I don't bring that story to you because it's not necessary. I am higher than that. I am bigger than that. And in order to squash that is for us as a community to be a community, because we all want the best for our children. We all want the best for our grandchildren. We all want the best for ourselves. And so that's why I'm saying to us, let's take advantage of our community block grant monies, of having a neighborhood block party, and let's talk, because we ought to have a better voting system. But again, I'll say, I've only been on this commission 2 years, and it took 100 years for me to sit on this commission just for 2 years. And that just happened 2 years ago. Just 2 years ago is when that happened. And it's sad because when I say that to open-minded individual, their mouth drops. And I have to tell them, pick your mouth up and close it, because the only way we can express that is if we're open and we have a common goal. The common goal is for us to build a better community together, for us to be able to listen to each other, for us to be able to have dialogue and not feel as though we can't speak or we are afraid to speak. And I will tell you, 7 months ago, I had another individual to come and shine their light on my house. I don't say these things, I don't report it. Why? Because I live it. So having said that, you are right. We ought to have a better situation than what we have here in our town. But the truth of the matter, I see it, I feel it. And it's not just in one place. So we need to change that mindset. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
No, we don't have to. You don't.
Oh, me?
Yes.
All right. First of all, I want to say we had a jolly good time on the Hawthorne 800 block at our block party. So I encourage other people to do it and get a chance to meet your neighbors like Commissioner Thomas was saying. And I also want to say thank you to staff for a great job on putting together the PADD forum. It was very well attended. That means the communication was good. Everything went smooth. You guys had the snacks that we asked for. Everything was great. And most of all, I want to thank the residents for coming out and voicing their opinion. It was loudly heard, and we appreciate you guys coming out and letting us know what you would like to see and what you would like to be a part of our town of Lake Park. That's all I have tonight.
Okay. I'm not gonna stretch out any more of this meeting, but the only thing I have is, on Thursday from 12:30 to 1:30, the Palm Beach County Clerk of the Circuit Court and Comptroller will be at the library, providing free information, so it would be a great opportunity for you to go there and go talk to them, seek out information. Something that they're giving out information on is on property fraud. And believe me, that is going on very extensively right now, where people are submitting property deeds that are your property, trying to obtain, and I'll say it again, your property. So they have devised a system that that all you have to do is do a simple 1-minute fill out of your information, and that way it gets monitored. So if any deed comes through, it notifies you directly to let you know that there is fraud going on up to trying to obtain your property. So please make yourself available for Thursday between the hours of 12, again, let me make sure I have this right, 12:30 to 1:30. Speak to them. They're wonderful people. I do talk to them myself. I'm very happy that they decided to come here. And I want to thank our library director for making the time and platform for them to be here to provide you that information. So please be here. I echo our commissioner's sentiments, Commissioner Rourke, Commissioner Thomas. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for your thoughts and sentiments, as well to the staff. I echo that as well. And with that, I will entertain a motion of adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night,
Night.
everybody.